All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, all the way from New York City. This is episode 99. Yes, I said it, episode 99. And we had to come to New York here to celebrate episode 100 is tomorrow with Benny and Ashley, all the way from the West Coast. And before we get started with this interview, this episode is sponsored by TuBachataRadio.com, where you can listen to this interview live in high quality. As well, you can watch us on YouTube right now, and it will be available on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And today, people, we have all the way from the amazing city of New York, I would say, a person that I've looked up to for many years, man, going way back 10 plus years in this dance business, seeing him at many socials, performances, being a part, having a large part in the growth of the New York City dance scene, especially the salsa scene, having an amazing event like La Vieja Guardia. Right here we have the one and only Joel Dominguez.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Joel. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a long
I know, right?
yeah, just like
Thank you so much for the invitation. Before we start anything, it's a pleasure to be here. Okay, and I'm cannot wait to have this conversation and hopefully we can inspire some people here.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as we talked privately earlier as well, was that for me now, understanding that in these times more than ever, I would love for the artists that I know of, that many people know of, that have influenced so much in our community, now their voices to be heard. Understanding that you guys have so many stories, so many things to talk about, so many things to share with us, so much knowledge that you're able to give to people, and now having a platform that allows you to do that. I'm thankful that I can have a person like you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, trust me, you've been definitely, your name has rang many bells in New York City, especially when people talk about, especially socials. When it comes to the main salsa socials, La Vieja Guardia for so long is just like it just hits people's tongue. I remember just talking to people, and there's very few socials that have that, and realizing how much the artists you would bring around to perform, and just realizing the impact and the contribution that you've given to New York for so many years. But also realizing the life before that and everything that's happened in between. So, I mean, for me, I love when I talk to my guests is understanding beforehand, everything that happened before dance, of understanding who was the guest before all the success. Many people who probably know
Yeah.
you privately, but now people can actually understand. And I would love for you to kind of tell us really, who is Joel Dominguez before dance?
Joel Dominguez is, I'm from Mexico, just to
Mhm.
start from there. And then I came to Texas first. I came to Texas, uh, but I was dancing already salsa. In Mexico, we dance salsa, I guess, coming from a family of musicians from my dad's side and coming from party people from my mom's side,
Mhm.
right? So it was a good combination, music and party dancing all the time. And and I guess it's when I started finding the love of dancing. So my father is from Veracruz, is where they have these uh, musicians. They used to have a band, and they used to travel. They go to concerts and everything. So at a very early age, I started already going with them.
Mhm.
I just love it. I just like it. And my mom is from Mexico City, so it's where actually really it's where I born. And and over there we have something we call it tocadas sonideras, which is pretty much people just bring super huge speakers, very nice equipment. They close the streets and they just blast the music. By the way, it's a lot of people that they go to different countries and they start collecting music just to play the
Mhm.
best there. And it's when I also even feel more in love with the music and with the dancing. Well, it's more the music first. Like I
Yeah.
never play an instrument, but that was the music, the rhythm, the drums was what actually grabbed me, you know. And then after that, of course, I started listening to more salsa, and I started getting just involved by myself because I was not really. I mean, I was like 12, 13 years old, and I had to just escape from my house at night just to go out to these parties because they were on the street. So,
Mm,
so then after that, I just started realizing that it's something that I like it. I started seeing people
yeah.
dancing, and just by watching, I started learning how to dance Mexican style. Of course, we call it
Mm.
again sonidero. So it's a little bit different than what we know as on one or on two. More like home style, kind of. I call it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And it makes sense because, like, for so long, people just talk about on one West Coast style, LA style, or on two. But with salsa, there's Cuban salsa, there's a way in
Yeah.
Mexico you dance salsa. So, it varies for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and people have been dancing salsa forever. You know, not necessarily since the on one and on two or the
Yeah.
congresses were invented. I mean, people were been dancing salsa from longer than that. So there's so many styles out there,
Hmm.
and it's so rich. It's so many cultures that they dance and they feel the music different,
Yeah.
and they create the music different. You know, like Colombians different style,
Hmm.
like Puerto Ricans different style, like New York different style. It's just it's why I fell in love with the music because it just represents different things in different parts, different cultures,
Hmm.
different things.
Man, and that's amazing. And so, when was that moment that kind of dance fell into your life? Like, how, of course, you can say, of course, throughout your whole life, you've been influenced by music and just seeing the culture and dance around you. But when was it, or where was that place that you kind of took your first class and like kind of got hooked?
Oh, my first class, um, I guess my first class was on the street. Again, just by watching, right?
Yeah,
You see people, and then you see people doing it, and they kind of teach with each other,
yeah,
and stuff like that. And then you start realize that you start dancing, right? But then when I started taking my first class, even though I was already going to clubs and stuff like this, and just dance socially, but
hmm,
again like home style. But then class was in Mexico actually. It was in Mexico, and my first teacher was. There are different ones, right? It's like
yeah,
Luis Arabia, and also we have Luis Martinez, which is
hmm,
Cuban, and he was teaching Cuban casino. And by the way, I don't know if you remember Victor Burgos. We started taking
yeah.
classes with him. He was dancing quebradita, but we both started taking classes with
Oh
this guy,
wow.
which is Luis Martinez. So we started together. Pretty much, he started like maybe 1 or 2 months before.
Mhm.
He was a dancer already, but he was like Cuban style. That was a
Yeah.
different thing. So this is how I started. I started with Rueda Casino,
Hmm.
and then from there we did very good things with them. Actually, we were invited to dance with Gloria Stefan. That was a good thing
Wow.
for me. And it's just everything just started like good experience and good
Yeah.
experience and good experiences, and it's just getting more hooked. But my first classes was there in Mexico with
Wow.
Luis Martinez. Yeah.
That's amazing. So then, realizing, of course, you're in Mexico, you're taking classes. When was that moment of, you said, coming from Mexico, then you're going to Texas, specifically the Dallas area? Was it dance that kind of pulled you that way, or it was just life in general?
Yeah, everything has been dancing. My entire life has been about the dance. So I've been moving. For example, in Texas, I moved, and I knew that I was something there because I remember I used to go out there,
Hmm.
and I used to see like you go and you have clubs that they just play norteñas, which is like rancheras and all that stuff,
Hmm.
Mexican music. You had to wear your hat and and your boots and everything. And at the time, I mean, that was is what they have. It's like okay,
Hmm.
it's what I stay with. So the idea was to go out. That I mean, you were at that age that you want to go out. And then I find one place, actually, two sisters, they told me, no, it's the one place, blah, blah, they call La Huira. It's like, La Huira? It's like, okay,
Hmm.
sounds interesting. And then I went, and then I was like, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So you hear bachata, you hear
Mhm.
salsa, and everybody's just dancing and stuff like that. So, so that's pretty much how I start getting, I guess, hooked right there in Dallas.
Hmm.
And then I start just like creating you start creating your thing, you start
Your brand.
dancing, and I started recruiting people to do your teams. I used to run four teams actually. No,
Uh-huh.
not four teams, three teams and one couple, right? Which was with my partner. We would
Yeah.
dance in the amateur, the amateur, the semi-pro, and the pro, and then the couples. The more that we did is perform with four teams at the LA Salsa Congress,
Mm.
but that was a lot of work.
And I would say really like as you're talking about your introduction is to dance, what year would you say that kind of culminated around?
What do you mean accommodated?
Like accumulate like what year would you say going to Dallas and kind of getting involved in there? What year was that?
I believe was like 2003,
Wow.
something like that. 2000, 2002 to 2003, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I mean,
yeah,
because if many people don't know too, like, especially for me from coming from New York, I actually had the luxury of going to like Houston, to the Texas Salsa Congress out there at a young age, and like realizing how kind of then the salsa world slowly, like you said, the LA Congress,
yeah.
slowly congresses and festivals started slowly popping up year after year. So realizing like when you talk about the LA Congress, it just kind of brings flashbacks because those times, those were shows. Those were like
Those were good, man.
huge.
Those times were good.
It's and when I tell people it's you had to be there to experience it. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember going to LA when they had the huge tent, that big white tent
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah. So
2000, 2000, all the way from 2000, probably one or two, all the way to 2006 or
yep,
seven, something like
yeah,
that.
absolutely, absolutely, man.
Yeah, all the way in the parking lot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I definitely.
huge. You go and you see Oscar de Leon right there playing, plus all
Mhm.
the people are still dancing outside because it's so packed in the main room. Is
Then you got the vendors, and then
yeah,
people
yeah,
will
yeah,
crowd. Yeah, yeah, the
yeah,
whole.
yeah.
So yes, it was a production. So, you being in Dallas and then kind of getting that bug, that itch now, and starting to dance. What then brought you to New York to have
So,
that
salsa
every day?
again. Yeah, again. I mean, salsa. First of all, when I visited New York a couple of times, and but I was just identified with the city. I'm from Mexico City, of course,
Yes.
and for me to be in another city is like, yes, this is what I like,
Hmm.
And then I moved here in 2007, September 2007. Maria says me. That's a plus, right?
See, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and then and pretty much yes. So salsa moved me here, and then again, the intention was to come and train like everybody else.
yes.
To be honest, the intention was never to create a school or to create a social or
Hmm.
to nothing, right? But then I really like it. I mean, I came in September. Of course, you have just a few months before you hit the winter, and then you
Yeah.
have the very cold winter,
Yes.
and then everybody says, oh, "No, you cannot leave. I mean, you have to stay for the summer." Blah blah. Like, okay, I stay for the summer. Like, okay, I stay, and then I stay. I stay longer. By the time I was just dancing, just taking classes. So even if I was already teaching for many years, probably around like 7, 8, maybe
Mhm.
more years teaching. Again, I cannot. I cannot like push myself to like reinvent myself.
Yeah.
and then I started practicing and training and taking a lot of classes. I was taking with Eddie a lot of classes. I was going pretty much to all his classes,
Hmm.
and with Frankie Martinez.
Wow.
That's the two kind of styles that I liked, and I kind of start fusion to plus whatever experience I had with other
Hmm.
instructors. Of course, I was traveling to different congresses and always taking classes,
Yeah.
and it's just you start finding yourself as a dancer, and then you start finding your own style.
Mm. And
So
what you just said, Joel, is so important because, in my opinion, even though New York City is known for being a dancing city, it's hard to find a lot of individuality because
yes,
so many people, there's so many dancers with so many styles. But you saying I'm studying from specifically two different people, but also using my own experience to make and rebrand myself instead of saying I'm this type of dancer, I'm this type of dancer. I think that's
yeah,
what helps separate mentally because you saying I'm going in here to train, your intention wasn't to create a school, to create a social, to create events, and it just happened. It just
yeah.
everything progressed. So then you coming to New York and you're training under Eddie, you're training under Frankie, was what was those initial moments like for you of kind of coming from Texas and Mexico area and Mexico and coming to New York now and training? What were those initial experiences like?
I guess the first of all, the dance again, it was what's moving me, right? So I guess the fact that you start finding a challenge for yourself
Hmm.
and start finding like new ways, new techniques, new stuff, new people to go out and dance. Because I don't know I mean, we that we live in New York, of course, we know, but people that don't, they are not from New York. It's just a different feeling when you go in social dance, right? Different than anywhere else. And and I don't say that. I'm just I experience it, but there's a lot of people saying the same thing. So I guess the socials actually, that was another thing that actually makes me like wow, like
Yeah.
coming from Mexico, come from Texas, and then you come here, and everybody tells you like, oh, you had to go. By the time we didn't have LVG, of course,
Yeah.
oh, you had to go to Jimmy's, oh, you had to go to Link's, oh, you had to go to
Yeah.
Cache, oh, you had to, and then you just go in, and now you become a regular. You become a regular. Now everybody sees you dancing, and at the beginning it's tough because when you come from a new face from somewhere else, I mean, you ask some girls to dance and they said no. it's, I mean, I had to say, New York's
Telling
a
it
little
like
bit
it is.
tough.
Yeah. New York is tough for
New
sure.
York is tough. But then after that, you become a regular and you just start uh, uh, meeting people, and now it's like it's become a good place to live, a good place to stay.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So when was that moment that you decided like, hey, I'm going to start teaching? How long did it take for you to kind of go in that route?
yeah, well, my I was teaching already for, like I mentioned before, for
Mhm.
many years. But
Yeah.
again, my intention was not to teach in New York, just to train, right? But at some
Yes.
point, I mean, in New York, it's super expensive. And then, okay, I have to teach at least some privates or something because people see you dancing and then they ask you for privates. Okay,
Yeah.
I start with privates. So I had back then, when I get here, I have some knowledge on HTML that I can actually, I taught myself how to do
Hmm.
that. And then I create a page, actually, Joel Salsa. That was
Yes.
till today was this is the school that I had and that I have. And then I put that page to making sure that when people search for private classes, my page was popping on the top
Yeah.
of the search. And at some point, I was just teaching privates. That's how I started teaching. People were asking me and said, okay, so let me create a page where people can actually search private classes,
Yeah.
salsa private classes, and then I pop, and then people can find me that way too. So, this is how I started teaching, and then from there I started trying group classes here and tried to group classes there. But I was doing the regular old school that everybody does by word of mouth and flyers, right?
Mm,
And of course, it didn't work. It didn't work. I mean, especially being in New York.
yeah.
So, so that was another thing that I had to push myself, not only as a dancer, but also move yourself and be two things at the same time, you
Hmm.
know? Because just being a dancer is very hard to keep up, uh, I guess, especially right now with these times, you know?
Oh yeah, no, no, absolutely. I mean, realizing, like you're saying, that for me, how should I say this? When you're dancing, especially in New York, there's so many variables because it's different than just being the social dancer. When you start teaching and you're realizing, I think too with the advance of technology and now social media, now you're realizing certain people who are able to adapt, especially yourself, of putting yourself out there, especially on Google, and people don't realize when it comes to keywords, and that's really key for a lot of artists, especially that ones that work getting those online classes, because there are a lot of people that search for those private classes they can have with people. And I noticed early, especially with you, and then you said with creation of Joel Salsa, I think it was the genuine relationships you built through already being in the dance scene that helped even more.
Yeah, um, I guess you cannot be fight with technology. Like you said, I mean, everything helps, right? Just being a dancer,
Hmm.
you can have the talent, but the
Yeah,
talent is just a percentage of the success. I mean, you have to learn other skills that
yeah,
you can combine to make the whole circle, you know, to make the whole thing. And and I think, I mean, if you don't have to be so technical, but at least you have to learn the fundamentals.
hmm,
Then you have to learn the business part, right? Like the business area. Like, okay, now I know that I can create my website,
yeah,
but people, again, they just keep that limit right there on the website, but
hmm,
it's not enough. You know, it's you always have to push yourself a little more, a little bit extra, because you know something that I actually I remember now people don't do that as much, but before they
hmm,
used to do. But so what you do for a living? It's like, what do you mean what I do for a living? It's like, it's this is I teach for a
yeah,
living, you know. And some people they have to have other jobs
yes,
to help their dancing. And it happens to me a very early times when I came here to New York. I was bad. I was suffering. I mean, I was pretty much touching the bottom. Like I
hmm,
was like no money, like broke,
yeah,
and because even if I came with some money that I was saved, I stayed longer than I was expected. So of course I had to
hmm,
start doing things. And then I realized, you know, I have to either do something or because I cannot continue surviving here in New York. It's so expensive.
yeah,
So I find a job. I used to be a cook actually a long time ago.
awesome.
I've been doing
So,
everything. I did everything. Valet parking. You know, valets, they park
yeah,
your cars. I did. I was a cook. Actually, I went all the positions. I went a head cook.
wow,
I used to be a head cook. I used to be I mean, just name it. I did a lot of, I work in different things. And I said, you know, whatever. I was gonna start working, and then I realized after I work for like probably 3 or 4 days, I had to say thank you to the person that hired me because I just didn't see myself doing the same thing that I was doing for many years,
hmm,
and not be able to really go full into what I was really looking for, which is dancing and
yeah,
teaching and create something, you know. So
absolutely,
So then I just took the risk and I started doing different things. Again, I found LVG, but I mean LVG is a great event, but with a social you cannot live in New York neither, you know.
hmm,
So then I started teaching and I was already with Maria, and Maria had already a job. And when she has this job, I mean, it was just after she work, then she has to come and help me, and then she has to help me with some emails, and she has to help me. It was just I was trying to push, but at some point, it's just like it's just getting too much.
Mm.
And then she has to quit. I mean, she quit her job probably, I don't even know how many years, probably like 7 or 8 years,
Hmm.
something like that. She's not working on corporate. So we're doing this like full time for many years
Mm.
already. But the thing is that what I try to go with this is like sometimes you don't put the 100% and you put
Yeah.
50% and 50% or maybe 75% and 25%. And it's what sometimes you don't see the results. You know, you have to just push it in and just try to see what exactly the vision is. When I was at the very, very bottom, and what I was just really frustrated,
Hmm.
and I was already studying a lot, Google advertisement,
Yeah.
but I never apply it. So then one day I just get up. I never forget this. I get up like in the middle of the night, and I start doing all my sheets and all the keywords and all the stuff and
Hmm.
the checking all these prices and everything. And I run my first ad. I
Mm.
run my first ad because actually my second ad, because the previous one I run it just like that randomly, and I spent like I don't know, probably all my savings like $400 or something like that, and I didn't have any client. It was like oof. So then the second time I really just really did it the way that I put the time, I put the effort, I put the research and everything.
Yeah.
And then we were teaching the boot camps since then, since
Hmm.
2010.
Wow.
So that was the first time when we did, let's do this boot camp because it's a good thing. We have it, and then it was just I was so happy that people start paying me online through
Hmm.
PayPal without knowing me, reserving their space for their class that will start in 1 or 2 weeks from the date. So for that class, we brought probably like 25 people, something like that, and we were
Yeah.
like, oh my god, people pay us. We don't even start the
Yeah.
classes. They already pay us, and it was so excited. And then that was the beginning of Joel Salsa was there and
Yes.
trying, but that was like the beginning, like the this that there was something there. It's
Yeah.
like it's something here. So again, just to make a long story short, it's like we sometimes you get very comfortable, and then let's go to Puerto Rico. So we went to Puerto Rico for like 3 weeks, and when we came back, of course we did. Oh, the people are gonna come back to us and blah 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 blah. 3 weeks took. These people just disappear, and we
Mhm.
have to start from scratch. So this is another thing, and I would like to do an emphasis on this because consistency is another key.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you're consistent, and you have a goal, right? And then once we did that, is okay. Now let's start all over again, and then we started, and then we started adjusting the boot camp and adjusting
Mhm.
it, and adjusting the marketing and adjusting everything.
Yes.
And just before we closed the pandemic, before the pandemic, we used to bring between 80 to 100 new students per month.
Mm.
So that was very good. I mean,
That. Yeah.
unfortunately, the pandemic came, but
Yeah.
that was we start getting like there. But I mean, again, it starts with 20, 25 people that actually join at the beginning, and we proved something that was working, and we just had to continue pushing that snowball.
I absolutely agree because I think too, Joel, I really think that what helped was your personable relationships that you would have with the dancers around you. Because, like you said, word of mouth. As you're working with certain people online or in group classes, the word of mouth spreads that you have a very good teaching approach. And that's what people also really want to pay for. They want to pay for
Yeah.
the experience, but they want to pay for something knowing that they're going to learn. and
Mm.
realizing that I've met many people that have taken your classes from the videos they post. One thing I see, which is really key, is they're always smiling. And that's what I really look for, especially when people are taking classes. Of course, the
What?
choreography. Say again?
Like that?
Yes. Like, whether they're doing it with you or doing it with the partner next to them. I think too, that's really what lacked a lot, in my opinion. A lot of classes, people were so straight faced and lost
Yeah.
the love in it. And it's like it's refreshing seeing those videos of the classes you've had, whether you're posting or a student is posting their progress within your class, and
Yeah.
seeing them eventually get it, and seeing the teaching approach of not just you but also Maria, realizing that powerhouse team you guys have, and being able to promote yourselves professionally. I think everything, like you said, came together to create this. So now my question is, what was the vision behind creating the La Vieja Guardia social?
To be the vision was not very ambitious. It
Mm,
was just we just wanted a place where we have come from a dancer, right,
mm,
and from a good DJ. Just we want a place that we can play good music for the dancer. Pretty
mm.
much, that was it. Very simple. It was nothing about let's make the biggest place or anything like that. It was just we just want a place where we can play really good music,
Mhm.
uh, and it's only all the time innovation, right?
Yeah.
On different aspects. Because, for example, for the audio, we were thinking about the audio, which a lot of people don't even think about it, but we were thinking a lot about the audio, a lot about Antonio was looking always for new music to
Yes.
play that is not only new, and it's not only that I heard it over there. Is something that is new, will surprise the people, and is also danceable. That you actually hear it, you
Yes.
never hear it in your life, and you want to dance, right?
Mhm.
And this is the part of the social itself, but also another aspect that people forget about it is like the marketing part, right?
Mhm.
Like we start bringing like text messages, we start bringing like email marketing, we start bringing on a lot of components. The website, I mean, we even have a website used for the social. Yes, that was a social, but it
Yeah.
has their own identity and their own website and everything. So we started like that, and I mean, I think it's good because a lot of people start following kind of the same path and start
Mhm.
following the same thing. So it was a very good thing. Uh, uh, at the beginning when we started, actually, we started in August 28th, yeah, 2008, and that was the week before the Congress.
The New York Salsa or
The
the LA Congress.
No, the New Year's Salsa
New
Congress,
York Salsa Congress.
the week before. So people were I mean, some people. That's another thing, and I want to probably it's kind of mini lesson, right?
Yeah.
That is a lot of people that are gonna tell you no, don't go because you're gonna fail,
Mm.
and even some people that actually loves you, they will tell you that because they love you, they want to protect you,
But
even
they
your
feel that
mind.
they're protecting you by telling you no.
Correct.
Yeah.
They don't want you to suffer. They don't want you to fail. They
Hmm.
don't want you to. Uh, but they just have to learn that they have to trust you, you know. And the other thing is that your mind, you know, you have to tell your mind, you know, let's go for it and let's go for it. So here we are, like three guys, like no money, use enough to rent the equipment because back then we rent equipment, we didn't buy our own yet. We were ready. We were like literally grabbing emails because there was not like Facebook and all that stuff yet. At least not for the way that people using it right now. But we were having like flyers, and every single party we went to every single party and it started right there. It doesn't matter that was hot. It doesn't matter that was cold. And even if I was like having a blast, for example, dancing, I know at a certain time before people leave, I have to leave before to be on the door and start giving flyers with a smile on the face, like you said. and and just the purpose was that just come and check my party. It's gonna be a nice party. We really want to play music for the dancer, etc., etc. And then that was it. That was just the main vision, just to have something new for New York. And I think I kind of pushed the limits a little bit because with the music of Antonio and everything that we put,
Yeah,
it kind of pushed like I guess pushed the
it pushed the
level.
envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So so that's yeah.
uh,
That
I
was how we did
definitely
the
agree.
LVG, La Vieja Guardia.
And for me, realizing because in New York we've had many different studios that have their socials, but there are very few that like just everybody knows. Whether it's the Andela Fridays, Salsa Mania Saturdays, whether it's La Vieja Guardia, whether it's Jimmy Antons, whether it's Yamule, you name it. And I think a really key component, especially in that social, was La Conga and realizing how he was pushing the envelope in the music selection and of
Yeah.
having people have to go do their research. And because again, I mean, as a DJ, it's not easy. I've seen it, just realizing because so many times you can play almost the same songs and not realize it, and you having now to search and research for new music to bring to the event that allows then the dancers to be like, wow, this is a place I can come to. That kind of is like a reinvention every time you come. It's always different but the same in the same sense,
Yes.
you know.
Yes, definitely. I think we did a very good team on the creation of LVG.
Mhm.
It was a very good team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, question now is, of course, now you have La Vieja Guardia, you have your teams, you have your school, you have really now what's becoming within your school an institution because you're giving education to new prospective students. And for me, definitely over the years myself, your name especially has been when it comes to like salsa classes, are really like so now like I'm not gonna lie, there have been about 5 times, and I'm not gonna lie, 5 times someone has asked me, hey, where can I take salsa classes? And just so happen I'm on Facebook and I see one of your promos and it's like, hey, you can take classes here. Understand and learn. And I'm not gonna lie, those people that have talked to me about that, I mean, just come out that class like actually learning something rather than just doing the same thing all the time. They feel like they learned something. And a big shout out to Jenna Roby right now. Although
Hi, Gina. The Live team is the fire.
she
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
yes,
She used to come to LVG all the time. I used to love
yeah,
with her.
all the way
I
from
really loved.
Boston.
Yeah, yeah. I know, I know. I always enjoy the dances with Gina. Yeah,
Man.
definitely.
And that's also something that's key is when over the years from the beginning of it, um, realizing with your social, it really started to grow because then you had people internationally coming. When people
Yes,
were coming, literally taking planes from across the country with a focus of, I have to go to this event before I go back home. I think that right
yes,
there shows the impact of your event, especially we're here with Jenna says saying Joel is one of the most amazing, humble individuals I have met in the scene, and that says a lot, you
thank you,
know,
thank you, thank you.
because in the scene we have
Same
so
here.
many directors, just different figures or leaders, and it's really great when we can have something like this, a discussion, a conversation,
Yes,
understanding what you've been able to do. So now,
yeah.
with having these socials, having that impact now internationally, when international artists want to come to your place and have a great time, over the years, what have been kind of the lessons you've learned kind of right before COVID from being just a person who liked dancing and watching it at one point, from watching other people to now having different ventures and contributing within that same community? You ever like had those moments when you kind of look back and say like, wow?
You know when it clicked actually, because we were doing it just like I will say that actually at certain point everything that we did, right? But mostly the school and LVG. We were at some point we were thinking, what will happen if we stop LVG, right? And I didn't realize that till somebody approached to me and said, I cannot believe it. So you're gonna be because we were about to do the 12-year anniversary. It's like, oh, I cannot believe that you're gonna be 12 years. It's like, oh my God, I'm so grateful, guys. I cannot believe that you've been here every second and for Sunday for 12 years without stopping, and it makes me realize, like, you know what? Actually, I never thought it like that.
Yeah.
I was there for almost 12 years of my life, going every second and fourth Sunday to to do LVG, and we didn't do it. We always love to do it because we love to dance. I guess if you get to the point that you're doing something that you get tired of it, I mean, it's probably there's no the path that you want to do, but we were just doing it, and then we never realized how many years we were actually
Yeah.
going. And you have a family reunion or something, whatever it is. It's like, oh, I can't because I have a VG. Oh, can we go on trip to somewhere this weekend? Let me
Yeah.
check the calendar to see if I have a VG. That was always based on if we have
Yeah.
or not LVG. Depending on that is where we made the plans, because we literally we never miss LVG for the 12 years. We missed
Wow.
probably once, and that was because it wasn't a storm. We closed probably one time, and the other one wasn't a storm, but still we opened.
Wow. And that's
Yeah.
dedication because, like you said, a lot of people don't understand, especially when you're then an organizer of an event. And if it's like a weekly, a bi weekly thing, every month you're having it. And then you have to think about those times you're dedicating and you have to kind of rewire, reschedule things around that. Yeah, that's a lot. And like you
Yeah.
said, for almost 12 years, that commitment you gave, but also
Yeah.
you seeing all of the love and support you've gotten back of
Yeah.
the countless yeah.
It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling of, yeah, I mean, we cannot stop it. I mean, just see how many people are right here having fun and just
Yeah.
smiling and laughing and just having a time.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think you changed so many lives like that, and I think it's one of the also other reason why we were doing it. Like it was just we cannot even think about it that we had to stop it just because, right? Of course, we had to stop it because we were forced, but we were like, it's just seeing the people there is just the best thing that you can have.
Yeah. I mean, especially then when it's compounded with your vision or the
Yeah.
vision of you and other people having of saying, I want to create something genuine, honest, and for the people, and for the people to accept that and embrace that, especially in New
Yeah.
York City, when there's so many other socials that are created constantly, realizing that yours is one of those that stands alone at many
Yes. Yeah.
times, in my opinion. I mean, especially, of course, like you said, with COVID happened, and it really affected our dance community as a whole, and it still
Yes.
does. And now that kind of helps me transition into more of the present sense before we get into a segment that I love called the randoms. Is
Yeah.
presently or dating back last year with COVID happening and kind of changing our dance community on its head from one day we're going to our favorite social and then we're saying, hey, we'll see you next week. And everything literally changes the day after. Um,
Yeah.
one thing I noticed with you and so many other artists that I've talked to is during the pandemic and realizing that now the same artists that were hosting events like yourself now had to kind of rebrand and recalibrate things and recalculate their tactics on how to promote and be consistent because that's something you said earlier about consistency is key. And that's
Yes.
something I noticed was that, you and Maria especially were kind of full steam ahead and really strong in New York, in my opinion, of bringing those classes back and allowing your people, your supporters, but also new people to see what you guys are about and realizing you can take that bigger space and just bring it home to where you guys are and just still share that experience with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's still we're waiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still we're waiting. Like, I know some people already open, but I guess we just feel that we still
Mm-hmm.
need to wait a little bit more,
Yeah.
because it's not only the school. I mean, we have also socials. We have
Yeah.
because something that we didn't mention. I mean, we have La Clave, which La Clave is another
Yep.
event that was very good. We started at the Copacabana. I think after Melanie, because Melanie was working with the Copacabana, after Melanie, then I just decided to go and ask to see if I can run an event over there. And then we run La Clave, and it was very, very good days, bringing live music and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
because that, it was not only the school, I don't know, I guess we have to wait a little bit longer on that. And by the way, you said you want to mention this because just coming back to what we were saying before about the people has to learn new skills and different things and rebrand. I guess also before the pandemic, a lot of people were or they were thinking that because you have a big social, you have big classes. Or because you have big classes, you have a big social.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a misunderstanding, and I want to leave this more like an experience. I want to share
Mm-hmm.
this because a lot of people try to promote to the same people that goes to a social, the same people that actually wants to go to the classes, right? The
Mm-hmm.
reason why we were able to bring between 80 to 100 new people, I'm talking about brand new people, right, per month, not for a year, per month, we have to fill 3 beginner classes, right? On Tuesday, on Thursday, and Saturdays, we have 3 beginner classes full. It was because we were concentrating on people that they were not inside of the Southside scene. So we were bringing new people, and I think it's a very good responsibility or good thing to know because probably it's the best way to grow
Mm-hmm.
the Southside scene, you know?
Yeah.
When we used to bring that amount of people, of course, not all of them stay because some of them they just want to come and try salsa because it's
Mm-hmm.
fun. Everybody talks about it. Oh, it's fun to see people dancing together, and it's just fun, right?
Yeah.
But to grab these people, right, and have, if I take them, for example, to LVG,
Mm-hmm.
they will be scared. Like, what the hell am I doing here? You know,
It's a graduate.
I cannot keep up with these
Yeah.
people. It's like, you crazy? And they either they get inspired, one eye, or the other eye, they can just get
Intimidate.
intimidated, right? So it can be one of the two things. Most of the people at that level, they get intimidated. So they leave. So what you had to do, even if we have La Clave and that was a good night and good things, but we bring people there. So
Mm.
we have a good combination of good dancers and also some beginner dancers. So that was kind of like the latter, you know? It's not like you have, and the way that we promoted to the school was totally different that we were promoted to La Clave. And that was very different to how we promoted to LVG.
Mm.
So people don't realize that, and they just want to talk to everybody, and then, hey guys, come to my party one, party two, and my classes, and my socials, and my everything, and this is where people get stuck. So I just want to put this out there because a lot of people they have this misconception of if I have good classes, I can make a good social, and it's a totally different business. Same thing with online. Now that we move in and we change or we pivot right now, we're pivoting or we're doing hybrid classes or like us, we right now at this moment at least, we moving 100% online. We do a totally different, a complete change, you know, and you had to market different, you had to promote different, you had to
Yeah.
talk to the people differently, and so on. So I just want to put this out there, so maybe this can help some people to realize that, oh, okay, so I have to treat the people differently depending on what I have to offer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, like you said, everything just really goes within itself, and realizing whether it's in person or online, you just have to make those adjustments. And I believe, honestly, from just seeing you guys this past year, you've been, like you said, full steam ahead, full speed ahead. And I'm really just proud that we have people in New York like yourselves, of Joel Salsa, just that influence still there, realizing that even with all the adversity, you're still able to keep afloat, still be consistent, And that's really what matters. And I think now it helps us transition to our closing segment called The Randoms, which is about 10 questions that allows myself and the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So, Joel, all I need to know is when you are ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Shoot
Number one,
it.
favorite food.
I'm sorry? The
Favorite food.
favorite food, Mexican.
All right. So, specifically, what
Specifically, pozole.
Oh, okay. I like that. I love pozole. If it's made right, it has to be made right.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, pozole because I'm here. But if I was, for example, in Mexico and I know it's a good barbacoa with consomme,
Oh my God. Like for
that,
me, birria tacos I've been eating
yeah,
recently. Oh yeah. Oh man.
yeah.
You got when you said consomme, you definitely hit the spot, right? All right. So next question. If you could be at a social right now, what and you had one song you could dance to, what would that be?
Uh, I would say Morena.
Okay. All right. All right.
Morenita, I believe is the name of the song. Morenita.
Okay. All right, next question, and it ties right into that. The third one would be if you could dance with one dancer, one follow, who would that be? And I'm gonna put a little disclaimer: cannot be Maria.
It cannot be Maria. Okay. I will say it's to dance. It's to dance. Oh my God, that's tough. So, you know what is tough because it's been a long time that I'm on social dance, so now
Yeah,
it's hard to come to my head.
yeah.
uh, um, I don't know. Well, I'm thinking, can I go for the next one?
How about just say you could just take Maria?
Yeah. Okay.
All
Let's
right,
take
perfect.
Maria.
All right, next one would be what did Joel want to be at 10 years old?
Uh, at 10 years old, probably dancer. Actually,
Yeah.
it was no salsa, but that was already dancing. I was
Got
putting my Michael Jackson choreographies.
Oh, I wish we could see those photos one day. But all right, next question. What is one memorable performance that you've had that just comes right to your mind?
One in Los Angeles, in the main stage. Yeah,
Mm.
2005, I believe.
Ooh, taking it all the way back. I love it.
Yeah.
I think I was there that year too as well with Dave Melendez. So I definitely remember those times. All right, next question here would be partner work or shine?
Partner work.
Any explanation why?
I like to play with the music with the partner,
Yes.
but make them feel what I feel with the music while I'm doing the turns.
Gotcha. I like that. I like
So
that.
it's not because the turns itself, it's
Mhm.
what it feels when you hit certain parts of the music as you do in the partner work. That's the part that I like.
Mm.
And it's just, I like the people feel what I feel, or how
Yeah.
can I make them feel. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Next question. What would be your superpower if you had one?
My superpower will be, I guess, flying.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
you can get to where you got to get to quicker. So I definitely understand that for sure. All right. Next question will be: can you name three of your favorite leads in the salsa world?
Three of the favorite leads. I never follow them, but for what I see, I guess is Gabe from Melanie and Gabe.
Hmm.
For what I hear is for what I hear and what I see, he's a
Hmm.
very good leader. Um, Also, who else? I don't know them by name.
Hmm.
I don't know them by name.
I wouldn't even just
Well,
say lead.
well,
I would
definitely
say maybe.
Eddie,
Okay.
definitely Eddie. I mean, he has his technique,
Yeah.
and I don't know if many people know, but I mean, I don't know now, probably
Yeah.
because it's been a long time that I don't see him, but Frankie Martinez, when he was dancing in couples, he has very good things, but he doesn't dance in couples and not as much like
Mm-hmm.
mambo. But when he was like dancing, I think he was very accurate and very fast and very precise on his turns. But again, I never dance with him.
Well, I mean, at least till you have that observation in a sense. I
Yeah,
mean, just having that idea because I mean, just so many dancers come in and out of your vicinity at one point. It's like
yeah,
it's hard to just like think about just. So
yeah.
now that brings me now to my second before last question, and it is, what is a special talent that many people wouldn't know Joel has?
The talent, I will say it, the teaching skills
Mm,
in general. I think I love no I think I love to teach, and it can be not only dancing, but as you know, I teach in also other things, especially right now with these times. I'd like to teach
mhm,
other instructors on how to get better and how to do this pivot to online or have the hybrid and stuff like that. And just because what I was mentioned before, right? Everybody was to market the same people and
yeah.
thinking this one. So I think it's one of the talents that I would like to people that they know that I have, because I think I can teach different skills. Yeah,
Okay. I mean that definitely is a talent, just having multiple facets, multiple skills, and I like definitely like that answer. So now it leads me to my last question, and it goes like this: if you were on an island, but disclaimer, you have no Wi-Fi for your phone, what are three things that you would have to have with you on that island?
well, food I have to eat.
Spot on.
Uh, Maybe a jet so I can go back and
See,
forth.
see, I like the innovation.
And I guess a very nice house that
Some shelter.
simple that you can actually stay there and relax and just enjoy the time without technology.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Very genuine answer. And Joel, thank you again for doing this segment. I love doing it because it
Thank
helps
you.
myself learn a little bit more about you as well as the audience does. And I would say definitely, Joel, after this interview today, I should definitely check out some of the comments that people have been leaving. But now it really brings us to the conclusion of our talk tonight. And again, I really want to thank you, Joel, so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
and giving us a glimpse into your life because I really feel like with just one talk, it doesn't get everything through. And for me, I would love to have you on for a future interview with you and a panel of guests that I want to have on instructors,
Definitely.
influencers in our scene, and talk about, the things we're looking forward to for the future of our dance community because when it really comes back, I think in full force, I think it's going to look a lot different. So, I mean, having leaders like yourself have that influence and say so and understanding of what you guys feel is really important. And especially on this platform, I invite that. But at
Yeah.
least before we go, Joel, I would love to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, now that you mentioned actually that everything is going to come back, I just want to, it just came to my head right now because Maria was telling me about one article that was explaining how after, for example, World War II, for example, after that, or after, on the 1920s, when something happened also bad worldwide, like
Hmm.
I don't remember what it was, but they call it the dancing something. So I don't have the name exactly right now, but the point is that because everybody was like stuck, or everybody was like suffering, or everybody was uh, just, let's put it, no free, right?
Yeah.
After that, the way that they release, or the way that they came back, is actually inventing new dances, inventing new things to express themselves. So I think maybe it can be a good revamp of the dancing after that. So I guess we have to keep positive, and because I mean, I guess you can know more or less what can happen, and you know a little bit about what happened in the past, and I think it's a very good thing to keep the hope, you know,
Mhm.
and hopefully uh, come back either to normal that we had, or maybe even a new revamp dancing, I guess, times, you know,
Yeah,
where people gonna start like, because they've been in the house and everything, people have like used to explode and express what they feel.
yeah,
I think it can come with good things. So I don't know. It's just I want to put that just right now that you mentioned that when things coming, I guess I don't know. We never know. We
mhm,
can come like they said after something happened, or after the
yeah,
storm comes the calm. But in this case, it's gonna come like new ideas and new
yeah.
things and new dances and new styles and new stuff. Something to put out there.
Absolutely, and especially with my platform, I want to make sure I promote those things, promote those ideas, because that's what's important for us to come back stronger than ever in reinvention and rebranding of what we once knew. Of course, having what we had
Yes,
before, but with a fresher outlook on things. And just having you on again tonight was amazing because from a person that I've admired, like I've told you earlier, with all of the ventures you've been doing, whether it's going from the performance setting to teaching to having socials, not one, but two, but really impacting the dance community in New York for over a decade, honestly, and any role you played. I'm thankful that I could have you on and have you share parts of your story. And I definitely hope in the future we can have you on and have
yes,
even more of a larger conversation.
definitely. Thank you, and please count me on that plans that you have in the future.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone so much for tuning in to tonight's episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond Podcast, episode 99. I'm Diamond here with Joel Dominguez. Everyone, please stay safe, and we will see you soon.
See
Thank you
you soon.
all, and
Thank you, everybody, for being here too.
thank you, everyone.